Hello and welcome back to Football Talk, the podcast. It's me, Dave, and Josh. Are you there?
I'm here, loud and clear, ready to start this podcast.
Have you managed to understand the English language? You were having a bit of trouble before we press the record button.
You know, early morning Sunday, that's all.
Okay.
I say early morning, it's 9:30. But,
That's alright, we'll let you off. So first up, like normal, you know, it's become a bit of a routine. I've got a food question for you. This isn't the quiz.
Oh, go on.
But I've got a food question for you. Burger, right? You've got a burger. Fried egg in it, yes or no? Mm-hmm. Fried egg, yes or no?
Not as a standard. I wouldn't mind it as a kind of one-off, but no, I'm not overly keen. Do you know what? Yesterday, for a lunch, I had a fried egg, bacon and sausage roll. So quite similar, really. But
nice.
Yeah, are you watching me? You watching me?
I'm not watching you. No, it's just because for lunch today I had a burger and I asked for a fried egg in it, and I thought, that'd be a good question to ask Josh. So there you go, viewers. Listen, let us know down below. Fried egg in a burger, yes or no? That's the first question for you.
What else was in it?
Oh, I had a burger, lettuce, an onion, like a little bit of onion, cheese,
Whole onion.
cheese, a fried egg, some fancy mustard mayo stuff, and that was it. It was very nice.
Oh, check you
bacon.
out.
It had bacon in it as well, actually. Yeah. So. Yeah.
What else did this? Did almost everything. This was fully loaded.
It was. It was a good burger. It was decent. Yeah. At Tanjong Beach Club. If anyone's ever in Singapore and wants a decent burger.
Oh yeah, know it well.
Yeah. I thought you did. Yeah. So anyway, that's food talk done with. On to football talk, and I'm going to start us off in the news today, Josh, because last week I mentioned we had a cup final, and we're the winners. We are the cup final winners.
Well
I'll
done.
put it on Twitter. You know me, Josh, and you know I'm not brilliant at football, right? I'm an okay sportsman, but I'm not brilliant at football.
Yeah.
I've won 4 trophies in 5 years in football. How ridiculous is that? Sorry, 4 trophies in 3 years. How ridiculous is that?
That is. You're like the kind of Clarence Seedorf of the world. I mean, I always think of you as the Clarence Seedorf of my group of football. So well done.
5 trophies in 4 years is the actual stat. I'm getting my own facts wrong. 5 trophies in 4 years. It's still quite impressive. I think.
Is that 2? Is it?
Sorry?
Was that 2 different clubs? Is it?
Yeah. So I did it in Bristol. I did. I won a double, then had a year off, and then I won a double, and then I've moved here and won another trophy. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, wow. Very happy with that.
Yeah.
Fucking, I've got medals coming out my arse.
Maybe you get transferred. Maybe, people want to snap you up, don't they?
Who knows? I got a medal, but I didn't play in the final because I was injured for this one. But they won it. Yeah, it was very good. Such a hot day. Oh, that's actually... I've just realised what I wanted to talk about because of that cup final. So I'm going to slip it in. It's not in our running order, Josh. I'm going to slip this one in quietly.
All right.
Right. So we won the cup on a handicap points difference because we're in the league below. So we were playing a first division team, which meant we started the game with a 0.5 goal handicap. The game finished 2-2, so we won 2.5 to 2. My question was going to be to you, as part of a football question, was do you think that would work in professional football and encourage, and make a difference, so I think? Because you get big teams that play their kids and their reserves and stuff, but if they already start 0.5 or it's 0.5 advantage per division difference, right? So if you had a Premier League club playing a League One club, the difference would be 1 goal advantage to the League One club. So the Premier League club have to score 2 goals to go through. Now, do you think that would be a good thing to introduce in cup competition in England?
Oh, it would be very interesting. Yeah, I actually quite like the idea.
I loved it because it made the Division 1 team that we were playing have to come out and try and score a goal. And what it allowed us to do is hit them on the counter-attack because they thought we were going to play defensively and we didn't. So we went 2-0 up and then conceded 2 goals. But we won 2.5 to 2. But yeah.
Interesting.
So maybe
I like that. I think it's worth spicing up a comment and giving that a little... when the magic of the FA Cup does finally die out, give that a go.
Or just, trial it in the League Cup now and just see what happens. So, I mean, it'll be a bit of a weird situation with qualifying for Europe and stuff. Like when, Accrington Stanley have qualified because they start 4 goals ahead of Man City.
I was about to say if it is per league, it then gets to the point when you get to real. Somehow a league club has got through and plays Premier League club. It has to be like they've got a 3-goal head start. But I suppose that doesn't. That's yeah.
Bring back the magic of the cup.
You'd expect you just score 3 goals against a non-league side.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I really liked it. It's the only ever cup competition I've ever played in which has that handicap rule, and I think it was. Well, obviously I love it because we won the cup due to handicap, but it was I
so would you have won? Would you have won at 0-0 then?
We would have won at 0-0 because it would have been 0.5 to 0. So
it didn't require a goal to initiate it.
No, but it means they. So basically, they win the cup. Anything else, we win the cup. It forces the bigger team to have to go for a win and have to be attacking. So, yeah, and I really like that idea. So let us know in the comments below. Right. What do you think about that? Do you think it would work in English football or whatever country you're listening from? Would it work in your cup competition? Let us know down below. And with that, we can move on to the proper news, Josh. So take it away. What's been catching your eye?
So there was a managerial change during the week. A midfield maestro, one of the legends of the game, has left Oldham. Yes, Paul.
You've done well there.
A mere month ago, we were talking about House Goals has joined Oldham. Now he'll be battling with Sol Campbell in League 2, and he's gone. He's left, and it seems to be. We all know that Paul Scholes was a slightly kind of stubborn man and a man of principles, and he seems to have kept to those because he wanted assurances that the owners and family were involved in picking matchday squads and interrupting his managerial stint, but it seems like that wasn't adhered to, so he's just walked away.
Until you read the response of the chairman and the owner saying, "Yeah, we let him do what he wants. I've been on holiday in Dubai for 2 weeks." And Scholes was doing everything, and then he texts me saying he's leaving. Brilliant, well done, Paul.
And then because then you see that his stint in charge of like 7 matches, he won his first match and that's it. He just drew a few, lost a few. It's like maybe
he just wasn't cut out for it. But maybe he's like testing the water and being I don't need this in my life.
I remember saying I don't see him being a kind of I never saw him as a manager. So do you reckon we'll see him in the game again?
He might be an assistant manager somewhere. He might prefer that sort of role, but I don't think we'll see him as a manager.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see him as a manager.
So out of Thierry Henry, Gary Neville, and Paul Scholes have all dabbled in their first job and it's ended abruptly. Which of those do you think is more likely to get another job in management?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Probably Henry because he has a bit of the flair. But I don't know, because obviously I don't get Sky anymore, so I don't know if has Henry just gone straight back into Sky as a pundit?
No, I haven't seen him back. No.
So he might be still looking around. I'd probably say Henry. Out of those 3, Henry would go back into management.
Yeah, I agree. I think he actually, because it seemed to fit a bit more. Neville Valencia appointment was odd. Goals obviously only month. I think he's got the longest stint and made a concerted effort being assistant manager of him. So I think I agree. Thierry Henry is probably the one who we would see back in management. But there's also in kind of lesser news, there was another managerial change. Zinedine Zidane.
He's gone back. Never go back.
Who saw that? Who saw that?
Well, according to the BBC, I think it was about 4 days before they appointed Zidane, were saying Zidane's already turned one down. So that's that one done.
Well, there was rumour about him going to Juve. And Allegri going and Zidane, taking charge there, but I really don't think he should have gone back.
No, although now famous words again from Dave, as I said with Thierry Henry, he can't do any worse, can he? They had the worst month of Real Madrid. He went in and won the Champions League. Said I need to leave. He must have got assurances from Florentino Perez and the backroom seniority in Madrid, and he's gone in and they're already out of all the cups. They've got knocked out of the Champions League. They're not going to win La Liga. I mean, he's just got to just plod it along and then rebuild for next season, hasn't he? So, as I once said about Thierry Henry,
he can't do any better though, can he?
No,
he can't do any better than his first 3 years.
Well, no,
why is he bothering?
That's the issue. Well, if it's anything by his press conference, Josh, I'd say he needs money to buy new clothes because he looked absolutely
Oh
ridiculous.
my god!
But,
His wife on the bottom half, and he's like setting up for a Skype interview. It's like, what are you doing? Honestly, I showed that bottom half to people, and they were like, "What woman's that?" He looked like a female in the bottom half. It was just very peculiar.
I know.
So tight. What is it with the jeans these days? Living kids these days.
You used to be a fan of tight jeans, tight trousers. Tight trousers, but skinny jeans.
Yeah, no, I still wear them. Not quite as skinny as the stick-on, spray-on ones these days.
Yeah, you can still find them.
Yeah. Do you know what I find funny? The older players, like the Zidanes, the Del Pieros, the Ronaldos, they and some of them not, but we actually find them advertising still for their sponsor. So you see Zidane still advertising for Adidas. It seems odd because you never really saw managers still advertising. They were just kind of they weren't really a lure, were they? They were just kind of like, oh, he's mad. But I suppose Zidane's still got that gravitas, and so can still advertise things. But it just seems a bit funny.
True. I've got a question for you, Josh, because I've been watching videos on YouTube of Zidane and players of that sort of generation. If you had to pick one player between Zidane and Ronaldinho to be in your team, who would it be?
Ronaldinho.
Yeah, good man. That's what I picked as well. I love Zidane, absolutely love him, but Ronaldinho just made the game really fun, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think you're also skewed now, but because of Messi and Ronaldo, but they weren't wholly consistent. There's a lot of Real Madrid didn't win titles galore. Zidane didn't get goals and assists galore. Nor did Ronaldinho, more goals, but they really weren't the kind of in statistical terms, the behemoths that Messi and Ronaldo are in terms of goals and assists. We're blessed with the consistency of these players delivering now.
Okay then, so if it came down to it, would you rather have the consistent goal scoring of nowadays Ronaldo, last couple of years Ronaldo, or the fun entertainment factor, but not as consistent Ronaldinho sort of player? What would you rather have? Like fun, lightheartedness, or goals?
I think Spurs have kind of got that kind of in harmless, efficient goals. There's no real. You rarely watch Harry Kane and go, oh yeah, that's another goal. There's no real enjoyment from Harry Kane. It's kind of just ruthless work ethic and goals, and it's not wholly enjoyable. I wouldn't say I've really enjoyed. I enjoyed the success, limited, relative success for Spurs in the last few years, but I think I'd take the Ronaldinho. If Spurs had a player who was doing that week in, week out, and still, if you're still achieving is your team that's still achieving similar levels, obviously I wouldn't take it if we were kind of mid-table, but no, that enjoyment that Ronaldinho brought to it is what you watch football for. You watch it to be excited. Yeah,
I agree. I totally agree. Okay, so that was a bit of a sidetrack from the news that we had lined up. Anything else that's caught your eye? Obviously 2 managerial changes.
Yeah, well, we also had this week. We had the last bout of the Champions League fixtures, and it was a pretty exciting week of Champions League football, wasn't it?
It was.
What did you? I imagine you caught some highlights, but we had Atletico, Barca, Lyon, Bayern, Liverpool, and City Schalke. I mean, we'll leave City Schalke there. Schalke surprised us all in the first leg of actually scoring a couple and keeping it a match, but then City just absolutely steamrolled them, and shocking. But we'll then move over to the another area of Germany, and then tie off the German side's performance. So we had Bayern versus Liverpool, and
did you see that coming? Did you honestly see that coming?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, because Liverpool played pretty well. Bayern were keeping it tight, but they really didn't offer too much, and it sets up quite nicely for going away then, because Liverpool know they've stopped Bayern from scoring, which means they can kind of just soak up any pressure that they get, and if they score a goal, it's almost game over, because you've stopped team scoring any goals away. Are they really going to score loads and loads of goals at home? And so, yeah, it's just Liverpool are set up for this type of performance. Sadio Mane is just he's having a really good season, and he's a very good player, but He's a very confusing player. You don't feel like he should be scoring as many goals as he does, but he is genuinely two-footed, and
yeah, I agree with that.
I think that,
He's just a bit of an enigma, Mane. Like,
yeah,
because he's a very good player. Would he get more hype and sort of respect for what he does if Salah wasn't in that team? Because all the pressure is always on Mo Salah in it to get the goals, to create the goals, to do that. I don't know. It's interesting. I interrupted you before. Anyway, carry on.
Well, no, I think maybe he'd get more respect if I don't know, maybe because he's Senegalese. I don't know. But kind of attacking midfielders or wingers, it seems like if you're from an African nation and you haven't played in a kind of massive club, obviously his first big club was with Liverpool. Maybe if he has another move and say, I know, because there's mention of Zidane wanting him at Real Madrid. If he was to make that move, I think he'd get a lot more respect, because at the moment it seems like, he's just kind of just on a good run of form. But he's got into double figures in league goals every single season since he's been at Red Bull Salzburg in 12-13. So he scored 16-13, 12, 11, 13, 10, currently on 16 league goals. He is a goal scorer.
I mean, it's incredible that if you think he's been at the club for 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, I think
this is third year,
yeah. And he's already scored more away goals in the Champions League than any other player in Liverpool's history. Like,
has he?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's incredible.
He scored 7 Champions League away goals since he's been at Liverpool, and that's more than any other Liverpool player in their whole history of European Cup and Champions League. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think that kind of two-footedness I mentioned earlier really did play into his hands, because Manuel Neuer got caught out completely for that first goal, and it's been a bit of a fall for Manuel Neuer. And
it's been overall German sides. It's been a jump off a cliff without a parachute for Manuel Neuer. He's just I don't know what's happened to him.
We had a bad injury. He was out for a while, but he really hasn't been that. Because beforehand, when he was kind of a Pep's Bayern, he was just phenomenal, wasn't he? He thought he is the best keeper in the world. Well, I did.
Oh yeah, I thought he was.
And but I think maybe his fall is epitomised, and mirrored by the German sides and overall. So no German side has reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the first time in 6 years. They got knocked out of the groups in the World Cup. They're relegated in the Nations League. Only Frankfurt progressed in the Europa League. It really is I think this is the end of an era, isn't it? End of that gold generation for the Germans.
It's very bizarre when you look at it and think that it was the model. Everyone was like, Germany have done it all so well. They failed that World Cup and rebuilt everything, and their teams have done their academies and stuff like that. And now it's just all, like you say, it's just completely gone awry for them, and it's just very bizarre.
Yeah, because I mean they did recover and recovered really well from it.
Yeah.
They haven't generated it as sustainably as you'd hope. You thought you'd learn that lesson and never let it happen again, but they don't seem to have done that. They seem to be just falling off again, and players coming through. They've got good players coming through, but Leroy Sané's Timo Werner's a very good player. Joshua Kimmich and Ter Stegen, but it's they were blessed with all the side that came through kind of 10 years ago. But I think I don't foresee kind of they're doing a kind of Italy and really falling away, but it's definitely a step down.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I thought I thought Liverpool would go through, but I thought it would have been like on an away goals draw. I didn't see them scoring 3 goals and Bayern only scoring Bayern didn't really score, did they? Matip scored an own goal, but but
it's one of those ones which you think, can you, like, it is an own goal, but it's one of those where you go, well, it is an own goal, but can we call this a goal, because it's pretty much going to be scored anyway. It's not like he's smashed it past his own goalkeeper with under no pressure. He's basically kicked it because Lewandowski's about to kick it in.
It's not a Kieran Trippier-esque own goal.
No, it's not.
No. All right,
that was unnecessary.
It's not, because I know what's coming up later for Wolves Man United.
Yeah.
Right, so moving on then. Other games, Barcelona 5-1.
Yeah. So we then have the whatever Ronaldo can do, Messi can do as well. So Messi on the Wednesday night scored 2, assisted 2, and tore Lyon apart really. And that man just keeps on impressing. I love Lionel Messi, and but I think the big news, and so Barca progressed, but the big news for me is the night before.
Yeah.
So we have Ronaldo calling his friends, telling them to come and watch the game because it's going to be a special night, calling out he's going to score a hat-trick, and he does actually go and score a hat-trick. That guy's got to be the best header of the ball I think I've ever seen. He's just phenomenal.
It's just his leap is ridiculous. Like, he's got a leap like a basketball player where they just hang in the air, and it's just... that's the thing, I don't know if he's the best header of the ball. I would say he's the best jumper. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but he's the best jumper, and judging hand-eye or head-ball coordination in the game I've ever seen. To judge the flight of the ball the way he does, and to get off the ground the way he does, is incredible. But it's just incredible. I really like Ronaldo. There you go. You're saying you really like Lionel Messi.
But I mean, but the thing is, it's also the fact that the amount of pressure this guy can deal with. It's like he was signed by Juve for occasions like this, and you think he's got the whole weight of the side, weight of all the fans on him to deliver time and time again. It's just the mental side of the things that with Ronaldo's and Messi's can keep pushing them on themselves, not being content with just being regarded as the best by doing it season after season, even though Ronaldo's got to be 33 going.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
I mean, if Ronaldo, let's say Ronaldo broke his leg or something and got forced into retirement now, do you reckon Messi wouldn't feel as much pressure and you wouldn't get the performances from Messi? Or do you just think they both just want to be the best no matter who else the competition is? Like, they just want to be at the peak and top of their game no matter who else is there? Or do you think they are driving each other on to try and be the best?
I think there is an element of driving it forward.
Okay.
I was thinking the other day how intriguing it would be to see that, like, because obviously we had Ronaldo hat-trick Tuesday, you see 2 goals, 2 assists Wednesday. I'll be intrigued to see if there is that correlation throughout their careers of, especially later careers when they're both in Spain, of someone doing something one day and then the other person doing it a few days later. But yeah, I do think they definitely drive each other on, because although they've been kind of paired together as the top 2 first and foremost, and then the awards came and they were always up for each other and the top goal scorers and that. So I think they're definitely a kind of a little eye on each other's performances.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'll say we're going to skip over Man City Schalke because it was just embarrassing. You shouldn't get beaten 7-0, should you, in the Champions League? So
no, that's not what you want from a Champions League, is it?
No. So we'll leave that there. Any other football news or anything you want to discuss from the Champions League, Joshua?
No, we'll touch on the draw for the Champions League and Europa League later on when we cover our poll. But we'll move on to this week's quiz, I think, sponsored by Christopher Samba. He's sponsored this week.
Here we go. So, excellent. Well, I have sent you a question. Well, a team sheet, Josh. I've sent you a team sheet. And you've been giving me quizzes of how well do I know Man United. So I am giving you this one. And this is Ledley King's last ever game for Spurs. And I want you to give me the lineups. So now, if I'm not mistaken, you really like Ledley King, don't you?
Yeah, my favourite ever player for Spurs. Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad you've said that. So hopefully you would have been watching his last ever game for Spurs, where he captained the side, and you lost 1-0 to QPR.
Oh my goodness.
Do you know who scored against you? It was an ex-Spurs player scored against you in 2012.
Adel Taarabt, was it?
It was Adel Taarabt, yeah. It really was. So, say what you see, and if you see it, say it.
Okay, so we have obviously a starting 11 for Spurs here. What year was it, Dave? 2012, do you say?
2012, yeah.
2012. So we have Brad Friedel in goal, who was signed, to replace Aurelio Gomez, who also was saying goodbye to his Watford colleagues yesterday. So Brad Friedel in goal, the ageing Brad Friedel there. Kyle Walker at right back. Ledley King at centre back. I mean, we're missing a centre back and a left back. um, which I could have a stab at, but I'll keep going. So then, left wing, we have Gareth Bale. Oh, Gareth Bale. At right mid, we have Luka Modric. So we're vacant in our central midfield. And then behind the lone striker of Jermaine Defoe, we also have a vacant attacking midfield. So we're missing 5 players, a centre-back, a left-back, 2 centre-mids, and an attacking midfielder. Who could these players be?
Who could they be?
I will start. The one I'm most confident about is left-back. I'm going to say Benoit Asuakoto.
It was the man that hates football, Benoit Asuakoto.
Yeah. Okay, and then
Good
because they
start.
played together for so long, I'd like to think that it was Michael Dawson at centre-back.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay.
I think
Right,
he must have been injured for this game because your sub centre back on the bench was Bongani Kumalo. So
Oh my goodness! Yeah. You're really kind of dredging up some players there. Okay, so then behind Jermaine Defoe, I'm going to say Raphael van der Vaart.
yeah, correct, Raphael van der Vaart.
Okay, so we're vacant in central midfield there. So who? I mean, Modric is playing wide right, which is a bit of an interesting one. So I would have played him centre mid personally. Centre mid. So would we still have had Tom Huddleston at that point?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
Should we leave it there?
We'll leave it there then.
Yeah. Three more to get. Centre back and 2
All down.
centre mids.
Okay. All right. I'll get my thinking cap on.
To be fair, you did better than me with my Champions League one. So
This is very true. Yeah, and that was a major event. That was.
oh no.
This is a random league match.
Anyway, so we'll come back to that a little bit later in the podcast. But now we'll move on to the weekend review that we like to do. So we'll start with the FA Cup and get that out the way. There was a little game that happened at Molineux, and some team reached their first semi-final for the first time in 21 years. And then the other game, Man City Swansea. Well, what a blinder that was. I assume you're happy with that review of the Wolves Man United game. That's a perfectly good review.
Yeah, no. We'll cover that in a bit more detail. We'll start. So, Watford played Palace early on, didn't they? And
they did, yeah.
And I think Palace will be quite glad to see the back of Watford this season, because Watford have done the treble over Palace now, beating them home and away in the league, and then beating them in the cup. You don't want that as a side. You just want that over and done with, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well done Watford, I suppose, if I have to. Etienne Capoue, former Spurs centre mid there. He wasn't playing that game, was he?
No.
He opened the scoring with a kind of a striker's finish, little tap in, but then
very instinctive.
Wasn't it? Yeah, just turned it in nice. He has a little bit of an eye for goal. He's scored a few in his career. Especially for someone who's typically a kind of defensive midfielder, he gets probably his fair share of goals from that position.
Yeah.
But the comical leveler for me is Batshuayi just doing what a good centre down the play, but closed down the ball when it was being played out the back from Watford, runs through on goal and tucks it in. And I mean, again, Batshuayi is showing the benefits of Palace having a striker. They can actually score goals.
It's amazing how much of a difference it makes, doesn't it? When you actually have someone who is capable of putting the ball in the back of the net, playing up front for you. Then, Troy Deeney didn't score the winner, so that's okay. But Andre Gray did.
He did. Who's going out with one of Girls Aloud? Not Girls Aloud.
No, Little Mix. Yeah, Little Mix.
Yeah, you showed me age there, didn't I?
You do very much did show your age there.
Oh, one of these girl bands. Yeah. Going out with Spice Girl, is he?
Yeah.
And I remember at the start of the season we were talking about how I think he started really well at the start of the season. Roberto Pereira, didn't he? He scored a couple of braces maybe early on, some really good goals, and he's got to be it's just so frustrating to watch. It must be very frustrating for Watford fans, knowing that talent's there but doesn't deliver week in, week out.
I mean, he used to play for Juventus, didn't he? I think, and it was.
He did, yeah.
I'm always a bit sceptical when players. It's a similar sort of thing to Deulofeu, I guess, is that the bigger teams must see something in those players to sign them and give them a chance, and then just think you're never going to have that consistency. Just get out. Same with
Southampton centre mid Mario Lemina.
Yeah.
He was at Juventus and signed for decent money. Remember, yeah, he just so it's always a risk picking that kind of player up, isn't it?
It is. It really is. But Andre Gray put in the winner, and Watford move on to the semi-finals. When's the draw done, or has it already been done and I've just missed it?
Draws are typically on Monday. It's going to be Monday again.
Okay, all right then, fair enough. So
or Sunday, but yeah, normally Monday.
Yeah, well done Watford for getting into the semis.
Yeah.
Anything else from that game that caught your eye, or are you happy to move on?
No, I think we'll move on to the excitement that was Swansea versus City. So I was doing the bedtime routine, putting my my sons down to bed, and flashed up on my phone 2-0. 2-0. Well, I read it as 2-0 City, and then went, okay, that's fine. But I read it again, I was like, hold on a minute, that's 2-0 Swansea. I was like, what on earth is going on? So once the kids and watched it, and it was just after half time, I picked it up, and some lovely goals. So
you saw Man City absolutely dominate.
Yeah, to be fair, they did dominate the whole game. Swansea were fortunate to be 2 goals up, and Fabian Delph doing his usual liability at left back, bringing down penalty. But then the second goal from Swansea was kind of there being Swansea out-cityed City. That was a lovely kind of one-touch passing, cutting through, and it was lovely for. It was a lovely finish. The player,
from Selena, and it was very, like you say, it was out-citying City. It was very reminiscent of what Guardiola says about overloading one side so that a player can sneak up on the opposite wing and get into a load of space, because that's exactly what happened. It was a great goal. It was a really nice goal to see, and then they got into half time and obviously got a bollocking from Pep, I'd imagine.
But I just want a little mention for Berson Selena's his goal, because I don't know if you've seen it during the week. Last week he took one of the worst penalties I've ever seen. He kind of slipped at the point of taking it, and it bobbled about 2 yards to his right. So I bet he's happy now to actually kind of erase that from his memory. But it wasn't enough, was it? Because City came out flying. They can bring off the bench, they can bring off Sterling and Aguero, and it all changed.
Shout out to
Man City.
Sorry, go on.
Well, I was going to say Man City scored 3, but then there was a lot of John Hartson in particular was very aggrieved due to the VAR issue we'll touch upon.
Okay, I didn't see that, but I've only seen the goals in the highlights. So I didn't see the VAR issue.
Well, the VAR issue is because in the FA Cup, VAR is only in action at Premier League grounds.
Oh, okay.
So there was no VAR in this match because Swansea being they have it all set up because they were in the Premier League last year.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So John Hartson was like, it's not a penalty, he won the ball. I mean, all right, John, that's not actually the laws, just because you win the ball. But I think the penalty, that's not a clear and obvious error, so I don't think that had been overturned. But the Aguero third goal would have been given offside, because that was clearly offside. But
I agree, Yeah, I mean.
So, what are your thoughts? You've got an FA Cup there. You said FA Cup VAR's in action, at Premier League grounds. What are your thoughts?
I don't like it. I think if VAR's available at any ground, at a ground that can host it and have it, then you should use it. If it's there, it shouldn't just be because it's only at Premier League grounds. If Swansea have the capability to do it, then they should use it, or you should just say nobody uses it in the cup, because you can't have one rule for one team and not for another. It seems a bit ludicrous.
It does seem ludicrous because it's inconsistent, and I think they set themselves up for a fall there, because I mean, different clubs could potentially end up needing VAR being installed. The cost is very high, so just don't promise it. Maybe say, I don't know, it'll be available from the semi-finals and final because they're both hosted at Wembley or something. But I mean, overall, it's only hindsight that says it was advantageous for City, because they could easily have had decisions go against them, which they wouldn't have had VAR to save them. It's only because they had decisions in their favour that people are kind of up in arms about it. Neither side had VAR, so it could easily have gone Swansea's way. But yeah, it's inconsistent overall as a competition.
Very true, and I guess the same thing's going to happen later on today or Monday. I can't remember, don't know when the next game is. But
today.
Millwall being at home. So yeah, very very interesting. I did like, just before we move on, I really did like Bernardo Silva's goal, the outside of the left foot, like. How he gets that much power? How does he get that much power in the outside of his boot? It's ridiculous. But
yeah,
and
I'm
also,
a big fan of Bernardo Silva.
Nordfeldt having the unlucky moment of a penalty hitting the post, hitting him in the back of the head and going in.
I know.
Can't help but laugh.
No, and we mentioned own goals earlier. That's a kind of a really unlucky one because it's just completely. You're oblivious to it, aren't you? You can't really go, oh look, it's hit the post, quick, get out of the way. You're just in mid-flight. It's harsh.
But yeah, so that sums up the FA Cup semi-finals. Let's move on.
Yeah, and we had the annoying Dave, and Wolves do love playing a top six side, don't they?
They do. They really do.
Because they let them play. Top six sides let them actually do something, whereas a lesser side will close up because they see Wolves as a kind of attacking threat, whereas top six sides really just care about themselves and get themselves playing, and it allows Wolves to play. So, do you see? I presume you didn't see this live. That would have been absurd timings, wouldn't it? Or?
Yes, it would have been absolutely absurd. No, I've seen the highlights. I've watched the highlights, and Wolves deserved it. Really, we didn't really turn up. I think Ole, he picked a good squad. He picked a good team. We just didn't really show up. It's the same thing of that if Pogba doesn't play well, there's a massive hole in our team, and Pogba didn't have a very good game. From the highlights I've seen anyway, I'm sure that's true, but I haven't heard anyone saying he was really good and Man United deserved to win. So the one thing I'm interested in is Jimenez's opening goal. That was a really good finish, because it's bobbling around and it's a great finish on the spin. Like Rashford had a similar one, but it didn't really matter at 95 minutes. It was an absolutely lovely goal. Jota, I think Romero should have done better, but I can't
and Luke Shaw should have done better.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Luke Shaw should have done a lot better. But I actually think Romero made some really good saves in the game. I think he's the best number 2 in the league, which is a good thing to have, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, it's not the best thing to shout about, though, is it? Oh, we got the best number 2. But
well,
yeah,
I'd say we've got the best number 1 and the best number 2 in the league. So, that's what I think for United. But yeah,
that covered. Yeah,
yeah. I think Wolves deserved it, and I hope Wolves go on and win it. I like Wolves. I like how they play. I'm a bit sceptical about the whole link with agents and things like that, about how they acquire the players. But I really like Wolves, and now that we're out, I'd like them to win it. So
yeah, and Huddersfield aren't here, so Wolves don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So
no, I think I can see Wolves being, barring drawing City in the semis, I can see Wolves being in the final, or a Man City Wolves final. But I'm actually firmly in Man City's camp for the quadruple now. I only really dawned on me yesterday that they've got the League Cup. They're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. They're first in the Premier League, are in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. So
yeah, but so you want them to win the quadruple, which means beating Spurs in the Champions League. Surely you'd prefer Spurs to win.
I mean, I prefer it, but it's not going to fucking happen. I'm realistic, mate.
That's true.
Realism.
Yeah, fair. I mean, what were your thoughts on the Wolves Man United game? Getting back to that, what are your thoughts on it?
How vital Jota and Jimenez are for Wolves. Every single week goals are scored, and it's those two either combining or scoring. They are imperative to their performance this season. And Jimenez we mentioned it a few weeks back, is 35 million release fee, and it looks more and more of a bargain and at current prices.
I think they've already said they're going to activate it. I think they've already announced they're going to activate it at the end of the season. If my Wolves supporting friend is correct, as he mentioned in our group chat, I think it's already been announced. So yeah, he does look at this point good value for money, and yeah, I don't know, I still look at Wolves and think that's the place that I'd upgrade, that and a centre back. But striker and centre back is what I'd upgrade. But you can't really argue with his stats he's put in this year. He's been very, very good for him.
Yeah. I'd also like to shout Moutinho as well. It came out during the week how close he was to signing for Spurs. He was a minute away from signing for Spurs when AVB wanted him. His brinksmanship put that to rest. So, but now it's nice to see him. I mean, he's 32 now, so he hasn't got a long time left in the Premier League. But it's nice to see him here finally because he's a class act.
Yeah, very true. He is good. He's a good little player, Moutinho. Good little player. Predictions: Millwall, Brighton. Can Millwall get to another cup semi-final?
I think Millwall will do it.
Really?
They're masters of a cup. Yeah,
Okay.
I think Brighton score very few from open play. I think Millwall could be tight, and Millwall very from set pieces. Yeah, I think 2-1 to Millwall.
Yeah, nice. I think Brighton will win 2-0. I think there'll be too much. So, yeah, there we go. Right, move on to the Premier League then.
Premier League, yeah, a restricted schedule. Besides being involved in the cup, so we had 3 matches here involving kind of the mid-table and lower end of the league, wasn't it? So we had the Matt Ritchie derby, the Adi and the Diego Poye derby. Which one do you want to start with first, Dave?
Let's start with the Matt Ritchie derby. Go on. Bournemouth Newcastle.
Derby, okay. Bournemouth Newcastle. Yeah, it was 12th versus 13th at the start of the day. Yeah, they've been kind of very different trajectories throughout the season because they're 3 points apart, but 10 games into Bournemouth are on 20 points and Newcastle are on 3 and hadn't won a game. That 17-point gap was closed. They're kind of, well, next to each other now, and it seems very strange that because of all the kind of the doom and gloom around Newcastle having not won a game and all the cheer around Bournemouth how they started so well, it's they find themselves as now.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and you can only praise Rafa Benitez, I think, for how well he's got Newcastle.
Yeah, one
playing.
of them's a good manager who is probably underrated and deserves a better job, and the other one is an overrated manager, I'd say.
Okay, so you think Eddie Howe's overrated?
Yeah, I think people are just. It's you know, like when you're at school and what everybody thinks is a hot teacher. Oh, yeah, Miss So and So, she's hot, but really, in real world, she's not that hot.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe is the best of a bad bunch of English managers in the Premier League, so people think that, but he's really not that good.
Okay, yeah, all right, I can understand that. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Who did you fancy at school, Dave?
Oh,
Who thought was
bloody
hot?
hell. I've no idea. I was going back a few years, Josh.
Oh, surely still in the old memory bank.
I don't know.
Oh.
What about you?
Not with me. I always had a thing for, I think Miss Ditano. Had something about her, Mrs. Dean,
yeah.
when I was yeah.
Mrs. Dearden? Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I never had the pleasure of being taught by Mr. Tano. So.
Mrs. Miller. So yeah, all good names that no one has any clue about. Yeah.
Although there probably are a few of our friends listening. So.
Yeah, and I'm about to get a text going.
Yeah.
They're attractive. Well, yeah. As much as I find Eddie Howe
attractive.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, back to the game. So. Matt Ritchie scored in the Matt Ritchie derby, which was
he did,
obviously good.
And he as well.
Yeah,
I thought that was a nailed-on. Not going to celebrate that, but I mean, he didn't quite go classy on Huntelaar, but he did do something.
Yeah. I much prefer it when they celebrate. I don't like it when players score and not celebrate.
Get on with it.
Exactly.
I just don't want to hate. If there wasn't social media, they'd do it.
Yeah, probably. I'd probably agree with that. Yeah. So.
I just don't want to hate on social media. I think a good guy Rondon can't do.
Good guy, Rondon.
Did not know he had the free kicks in his locker. Curl one in, bang.
He's good guy, Rondon, mate. He can do anything he wants.
Yeah.
Apart from be horrible, then that's not in his nature.
No.
So, but Josh King sticking away a penalty. He's been again quietly consistent in the Premier League, I'd say. Josh King.
Yeah, low key. He's done it well, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think it was a foul? Federico Fernandez all climbing all over. Well, not even climbing over him.
Right.
Sort of wrestling him, Nathan Ake.
Right, yeah, it is a foul, but there's so many others that aren't given as fouls. It's like all
Yeah,
or
but
call them all up. It's just
is it not they're not giving us fouls so the referee doesn't see? Because if Mike Dean is one of those referees that if he sees that he gives it, and he's done that throughout his career. So is it the fact he's not seeing the grappling happen when he's just not giving a penalty, rather than saying I've seen it, I'm not going to give that penalty, because he can only give it if he sees it.
yeah, very true. But I'd feel hard done by if that's given against me, because the opposing fans and manager will be able to go, and it's just like, yeah, I know they can't see everything, but it just strikes me as incredibly harsh, because if you could just so happen to see it and therefore give a penalty for it, I find it harsh.
Yeah, okay. Because the thing I would say is that if Mike Dean gives the one against Fernandez, he should probably give one in the favour of Newcastle towards the end of the game, I think, where someone pulls Rondon back in the box from a set piece, and yeah, I think they should both be given. But yeah, a very good game. It was a very good weekend actually, with a mineralised fixture list.
Yeah,
lots of goals and stuff. So moving on then.
So yeah, I imagine.
Ooh,
I've imagined Newcastle fans are happy. Obviously, scoring a last-minute equaliser probably feels like a victory for them. But yeah, so we'll move on to the Adi Akinbaye derby, where I imagine Burnley fans are feeling pretty sick around about now when they think about this. So
86 minutes with a man advantage, and they lost.
Yeah,
ridiculous. It's a sort of thing that is a quit and reload on Football Manager.
Oh, that is smash up the place.
Yeah,
across the room in Pro Evo, that one.
Yeah. But Leicester looking back to the sort of counter-attacking unit that we saw.
Yeah, I quite like the way that Rodgers has got them lining up. They've got Ndidi protecting, and then they got four pretty attacking midfielders in Gray, Madison,
Tielemans, yeah.
Yeah, Tielemans has been a lovely loan signing, actually. He's really classy player.
He'll be signed permanently, I imagine.
You'd imagine so. If Rodgers is liking him, then it should be a done deal. No, it's Leicester playing pretty well. I must admit, after the 4th minute, and I was watching it, I was thinking, you know what? I remember Dave saying, "What could by Rodgers joining early?" It's like, well, he could do awfully, lose the confidence of the board and fans, and get sacked. But no, it turned out all right. But Harry Maguire, sending off, fair or unfair?
Fair for me. Even if he didn't mean it, he stopped the guy running through on goal. You can't.
Yeah, it's clumsy, isn't it?
It's clumsy. Yeah, it's a foul, and it's a foul stopping a clear goal scoring opportunity. So it's a red card. It's just one of those letter of the law things, isn't it? If you give that foul, you have to send him off. So I think it was a correct decision.
He should, but the thing is, Harry Maguire, he's just one of those English players who really haven't had a good season after a good World Cup. Like Jordan Pickford's had an indifferent season, Kieran Trippier, Harry Maguire, as mentioned. It's not been great for him. Is it tricking that's kind of mental fatigue, or
I think it is.
They just had a one-off?
Yeah, I was going to ask you the same question. I think it is mental fatigue. I think it's because this is the first time people like Trippier, in terms of how much game time he got for England at the World Cup, and then Harry Maguire has never really done that at this standard before, as in playing a Premier League season, then a World Cup, and then back to the Premier League. Same with Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, it takes some adjusting.
Yeah, they've done it at under 21s and stuff, but I think the intensity of senior international tournament football and the Premier League combined, it's just a bit. It seems like it's been a bit too much for them, and I hope they learn, because I really like Harry Maguire and Jordan Pickford. I think they're good futures for England, and that'd be good. Quick thoughts on Burnley. This McNeil chap that appears to have come from nowhere, I quite like. Quite like the cut of his jib.
Yeah, and it's unique for Burnley bringing a youth player through, isn't it? But he's been different for him. He's been playing a bit of pace, bit of trickery, scoring goals, assisting. He's been contributing. It's been a highlight in a pretty poor Burnley season, I'd say.
Yeah, and do you think a big club will take a punt on him in the summer?
If Burnley stay up, no, I think he'll stay. But if they do go down, I could see maybe so, but probably not, because it's still quite raw, isn't it? I could see him.
Okay.
He'd benefit from it from a season of a championship, or they start up another season in the Premier League. So I don't think he's not a high level youth player at the moment, a young player. I think he's still got some more to prove.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Wes Morgan going to retire at the end of the season? Should he retire? Is what
It
I
seemed
should probably
like
ask.
he should retire, but it's nice that he gets a little goal, little swan song at the end there to see them through.
Yeah, good. And then on to the absolutely batshit mental game. West Ham Huddersfield.
Oh my goodness!
What was this about?
I mean, so it all seemed to go normal, didn't it? You know, West Ham go 1-up after a clumsy challenge in the box from Huddersfield. They love it, don't they? But then, so I picture myself being a fan of the stadium watching. So, a West Ham fan, going, right, oh, here we go, 1-0. Right, that's done and dusted. Yep. Huddersfield don't score goals, so we're pretty clear here. And then, Lacuna.
2 minutes later,
Bang. Yeah, Aaron Moore, he's got to be, is probably actually the only bright spot for Huddersfield. He needs to stay in the Premier League next season, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he does. I can see him, unfortunately, being a sort of... Is it Nigel Quasi that kept on moving to clubs that got relegated?
Yeah, Nigel Quasi did a fair old relegations, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a team in the top half of the table that would take a punt on him, but I think the bottom half of the table...
I can see him going to a Newcastle, maybe.
Okay, alright, yeah. Maybe, yeah. I was thinking like a Palace or Brighton, something like that. Who you'd expect to then be involved in a relegation battle for maybe a season or two. But, yeah, interesting. I mean, we're talking about McNeil from Burnley. Who is this Grant guy for Huddersfield?
They signed him from Charlton because I think his contract was running out, so they signed him for a small fee. But yeah, very good. I mean, he's scored 3 now in 6 appearances. His second goal in this game was a lovely kind of run and finish, wasn't it?
It was very nice. Yeah, it was. Fabianski ruined it for you though, didn't he? Because got a hand to it. So
I don't know why do they do it?
Just to annoy you, Josh. They're all listening to the podcast, and they just want to annoy you.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, you're 65 minutes in, aren't you? You're 65 minutes in. You're 3-1 up. You're like, text from around going, I hate football. I was like, yeah, I know. Tell me about it. And then I kind of left it at that. Didn't really pay attention to football going the rest of the afternoon. And then he messaged him going, I like football again. I'm like, you kidding me?
Yes.
And Christ, Huddersfield, it's
ridiculous.
It's just so bad.
So bad.
As soon as
avoidable.
Yeah, as soon as West Ham scored at first, they're like, oh, this is this is definitely a route to scoring. And then, just get some balls in the box. It's just so bad. I mean, if we didn't think Huddersfield were done and dusted already, throwing away a 2-goal lead, one, they had no idea what to do at it, having a 2-goal lead, so I can understand that. But throwing that away, they're just so done and dusted. But
yeah, it was.
Can I just say, though, the second goal that Huddersfield scored, the training ground routine, it was just so average. It was like it was an averagely worked free kick. It wasn't a well worked free kick. It was averagely worked. It was slowly moved wide, dribbled across, and scuffed in. It was just.
I was going to say the thing that annoyed me most about that free kick was the first pass that went to the left wing, because it was such a bad pass for a set piece. Oh, I'm going to dink this out to the side really quickly and take West Ham by surprise. Oh, hang on, it's gone so slowly. So
West Ham came back into it and grabbed a win after losing to Cardiff last week. If they'd lost to Huddersfield this week, I think hit a pretty low point, because West Ham are really, they're just their usual inconsistent self. They find themselves in 9th now with that win, but Leicester would have gone above them if they hadn't have got a result there. But bye Huddersfield.
They're down. They've gone. They went a long time ago. So, and Fulham, it's literally just that last place.
So Huddersfield are currently 16 points away from relegation, which is 5 games. So yeah, it's going to be kind of the next 2 games that Huddersfield are confirmed in relegation, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree on that. And that is that's the Premier League done for the weekend, I think, isn't it? It's just
pretty limited
today?
This week, isn't it?
What's the fixture today?
Sunday. Oh, we have some Fulham versus Liverpool and Everton versus Chelsea.
Yeah, well, 2 good games actually. Merseyside v London, all round.
Yeah. I mean, you'd imagine that Fulham will offer very little resistance there, but Everton may do something.
Little
resistance
Chelsea. in the Roy Hodgson derby. You could have a number of
Roy
derbies
Hodgson
there,
derby,
couldn't you?
yeah.
Paul Kucheski.
There. Yes, that's where I was, Danny Murphy.
Yeah. Good times. Good times. Right. Let's move on then, because we're eating into our
Ryan Babel.
time. Right. Ryan Babel, yeah. Currently going. Josh, you know what time it is, don't you? I got a wiki
Tell me,
file. You got a wiki file. Here comes a wiki file for you. Hey, and I have sent you that wiki file.
Let's have a look at this wiki file you sent me. Okay. Oh my goodness. So we start in Brazil, Corinthians in 1990 to 94. And then they go on to play for Corinthians for a fair old stint. They played for 5 years there, racking up 136 experiences and scoring 15 goals. So just better than 1 in 10, 1 in 9 probably. They moved to Arsenal, spend 2 years at Arsenal, appearing a mere 55 times, scoring 3 goals. They get a move to Celta Vigo now, which seems odd when you look at the rest of his career. So Arsenal to Celta to Barca to City. So it seems like a little dip going down to Celta Vigo. But they moved to Celta Vigo, appearing 84 times across 3 years. Big move to Barcelona for 5 years, 89 appearances, 2 goals, and then they finish it off with a little year at Manchester City for 11 games, and that's before City were a powerhouse. That is kind of that's shit City, isn't it?
That is not. It's not prime of Man City. No, it's
no. Okay, so I'm now trying to think. Play what Brazil had, and I've only got 3 in my head, and they're all central midfielders, and it doesn't feel like any of them fit this bill.
I thought you would have got this one relatively sharpish, but you seem to be struggling.
I am struggling. So
okay, what would you like? You can have position or
I
international
would like
stats.
Position. Oh, I've got it.
Oh, go on.
You don't have to offer me that position. That position will be left back.
It will be left back. It is. Who
yes.
is it?
And I always remember this player scoring an absolute worldie against Chelsea, I think it was.
Yeah.
This is another, much like Bernardo Silva, the outside of the boot, left boot, and it just whipped into the left-hand side of a goal. And back up to, was he going to be back up to Ashley Cole at that point?
He would have been, yeah.
Yeah,
back
probably
up to
would have been.
Ashley Cole.
Yeah, Silvinho.
It was Silvinho. Well done, Josh. Yeah, I thought the whole Premier League club signing someone straight from Brazil is quite rare.
Yes, yeah.
So I think Arsenal have done it twice, I think. Or did Gilberto Silva come from Europe already?
I think Gilberto Silva was in Greece for some reason.
Yeah, he might have been, yeah. So, but yes.
So
who do you, Josh? Oh, go on.
Who are the 3 centre midfielders that I was thinking of, Dave? The Arsenal's Brazilian centre midfielders.
Gilberto Silva.
Yes.
Obviously, is one of them. Oh God, why is my memory so shit when I'm put on the spot?
Oh, Gilberto da Silva did come direct from Brazil. He came from Atletico Mineiro.
I thought he did. If you had posed that to me in the form of a question, I wouldn't have been able to get it. Who else have they had? Arsenal in central midfield.
One was better than the other. One was a left-footed player, really tidy, really kept control. Probably part of their invincible squad, but maybe not their starting 11.
Oh, I don't know.
The other one was a...
Put me out of my misery.
Edu was a player I just mentioned.
Oh, Edu, yeah.
And then the other one was a youth player who played a few games, and you feel he kind of never really developed much for them.
Yeah, what's his name?
The namesake of a lovely left winger, Brazilian left winger, who was once the world record.
Oh, Denilson.
Yeah,
Denilson. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good little question, Josh. Yeah.
Any memories of Silvinho that you felt like
that absolute belter against Chelsea? Yeah, that goal was ridiculously good.
And do you know what he's up to nowadays? Is he manager?
He is. Yeah. Is he a manager or he's doing something?
Technical coach for Brazil.
Ah, there you go. Technical coach for Brazil. That is quite the job title.
And at technique coach at Inter Milan. So he tried being an assistant, realised that he didn't actually offer much there. Now he's just a technique coach, which is odd for a left back, but maybe defensive.
Well, there you go. Well done, Josh, for getting the wiki file right just in time.
Thank you very much.
Before getting the second bit of information.
Yes, didn't need it. Keep that points tally up.
Exactly. Right, before we move on, Josh, I've got a little surprise for you that, again, isn't in the running order. You've got some questions, you have. And I didn't mention this to you beforehand. On our last episode of Football Talk, episode 39, we obviously had a bit about Spurs and Harry Kane and the stadium and stuff like that. So we've got some questions from St Mirren Shinny, who says, great content. Thank you very much. And then he says, do you think Spurs have been overperforming or underperforming in the last few seasons? What do you think is a realistic target for Spurs next season?
I think we've been massively overperforming, and no season highlights it more than this season as our overperforming, because having won games that we probably should have drawn, those draws and now last few weeks have been defeats, and it really highlights how we've just been going over and above. No way with our amount we spend on wages and transfers should we have been vying for the title against big spending City and pretty big spending Liverpool. It was completely out of where we should be. I believe we should be in the top 6, obviously, in the challenge. I think we should be flitting between getting Champions League football and not, when you look at the sides of the other sides. And I think the fact that we have had Champions League football the past 2 seasons has probably been ahead of where we thought we were, which is why when newspaper reports going, oh, Tottenham must get Champions League football to fund their new stadium, I think that I don't think Daniel Levy, in his forward planning, in the business case for our new stadium, did we expect to be in the Champions League football at this point in time and have 2 seasons in our back pocket? I think that's hopefully we'll get it next year, as in finish within the top 4 this year, and I think that that's where we need to be. We are a top 4 side. We are where Arsenal were the last few years, and we've missed our chance to win the Premier League title over the past few years when we finished 2nd and 3rd. They were golden opportunities, but we need to just stay in that Champions League, that top 4 fight for the next few years, pay down and hopefully we can reap rewards of additional revenue, additional profit, which can then be turned into increased wages and increased transfer fees. Cool.
Well, hopefully, St Mirren Shilly, that has answered that question. And then the next question we got, which was from Spurs fan to Spurs fan, from Gage O, was what do we need to press on and get over the hill? And then a second part of that question is so that it can prevent us from dropping points in crucial games such as Wolves, Burnley and Southampton next season. So what do you think Spurs need next season to press on?
I think, as much as I don't mind Spurs having effectively a season out of transfers, it reeks of a lack of forward planning, because when we talk about transfer windows here on the podcast, we mention that foreign players especially need a season to bed in. So maybe not be signing a player for this season, you're expecting him to perform next season, but obviously Spurs haven't signed anyone. We have no one forward planning for that next season, and that's where I think we're going to come unstuck. We may have had continuity this season, but I can see players leaving this summer. I can see Toby Alderweireld going to Christian Eriksen to Real Madrid, and so I think we missed the boat by not signing players this season to push us over the line and get us turning those losses into draws or draws into wins and building on the score we have, because I think it's set to get dismantled. It's sad to see, but I think what solace you can take from that is that Liverpool, they sold Coutinho, they bought well, they've got investment from that, so we need to really do invest now and spend a fair amount of money, but let's not waste it like we wasted Bale money. We need to sign, because we got an ageing squad now. Our squad is it was talked about as a very young up-and-coming squad now, but that was kind of 3 years ago. They're now reaching peak. Some players past peak with, you've got Sissoko, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Lloris, and a bit, and so we haven't got the youngest squad now, but unfortunately I think the time has passed for us to have a few tweaks to push us over the line. It's now going to be wholesale changes, unless amazingly we manage to keep these players I mentioned, which I can't see us doing this summer.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go. If you have any questions for us, please do leave them in the comments below, and we will try our hardest to get some time to answer them. So Josh, apologies on my part for springing them on you late, but I forgot to put it into the
It's
running
fine.
order. But from questions from you guys to question from us to you guys, the listeners, the guys and girls, I should say. We may have some female listeners, who knows. The Football Talk poll for this week was, will an English club win a European competition this season? And the options were yes, the Europa League, yes, the Champions League, yes, both the Europa and the Champions League, or nope. And have you seen the results, Josh?
I have, and I think by the fact you don't split out the clubs, all fans are hopeful of their own side's progress, and so you'll have City, Spurs, maybe not Spurs, United and Chelsea and Arsenal and Liverpool fans going, yeah, we can win it. So the result is as it is.
But that's why I split it all out, because surely it should have been an even split between most fans either saying yes to Europa or yes to Champions League. Because those that haven't seen the poll, yes, both Europa and Champions League was the winning option with 48% of the votes. So we have some very optimistic fans out there. What did you vote for, Josh?
I voted yes to the Champions League.
Only Champions League only.
Yes, Champions League only.
That is what I voted for as well. It's an odd one, because if Arsenal beat Napoli, I can see them going on and winning in the Europa League.
Yeah, so let's just touch on the draw then. So in the Europa League, as we'll progress, we have Arsenal drawn against Napoli and Slavia Prague versus Chelsea. So I think Chelsea, you'd probably put your best hopes on Chelsea progressing, which is fair. I mean, they've got Eden Hazard, probably again maybe his last season in Chelsea's colours, would want to do well and bring some silverware there. But I mean, there's only 2 out of the 8 sides are English, so you obviously have a lower volume there.
Yeah.
In the Champions League, we unfortunately have an English head-to-head in Tottenham versus Man City. It's the worst possible draw Spurs could have got.
I think you might turn them over.
Turn them over?
I think over 2 legs.
When have we turned City over?
Okay, not turn them over, but I think you'll win.
Hell.
I think you might do over 2 legs. I think you might just do it.
I think the City would feel from last season's hammering at the hands of Liverpool in the Champions League, you're going to get absolutely spanked.
Okay, fair enough. And then Man United Barcelona. That's only going one way, isn't it? That's only going.
He's only going one way. Yeah. As comments on Twitter were, I think it was shit. Man United are good, but Barcelona are elite. And it's a big ask for.
I'll edit that out.
Yeah, it's a big ask for United, who are stumbling at the moment. The momentum has gone from United, but Barcelona are a big side. For me, I'd like to see a Man City Barcelona final. It's kind of a mirror of last season's final. Obviously, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and then Liverpool, Man City, the kind of sides. So I think I'll finish it off. Then we have Liverpool versus Ajax. So yeah, I can see Champions League weight of numbers, and Man City for me are the best side in the world. I think we stand.
Okay. Fair enough then. So please do leave your comments down below about the Champions League, what you think is going to happen, who's going to win it, and who's going to win the Europa League as well. Let's not dismiss the second competition of European football.
The second-rate competition. I will go for.
Go on.
I was about to say Chelsea, but it goes against my poll vote. But I will go for Chelsea because I've changed my mind on my poll.
Okay, all right then. I think Napoli. I think if whoever wins out of Arsenal and Napoli, I think will win the Europa League. That's what I think. Yeah. Champions League, Man United are going to win it. Got to stay confident. Got to stay faithful.
That is.
That is bold.
That is absolutely. Yeah, that is bold.
Okay, so moving on from that, Josh, you've got a quiz question to answer.
I have got a quiz question to answer.
I hope you've been thinking about it.
I think so many players that era, which we had so many poor players. But right, let's give it a go. So Dave challenged me to name starting lineup in Ledley Kings for Spurs. We have Brad Friedel in goal, Carl Walker at right back, Ledley King at centre back, a missing centre back. I've named Benoit Sokoto as a missing. In midfield, we have Gareth Bale, Luka Modric. Fielders, two of them. And Avar as a missing attacking midfielder playing behind Jermaine Defoe. So I need to name a centre back and 2 centre mids. So
who have you got? Who have you got on the tip of your tongue?
Is it a French centre back?
It is a French centre back.
The French centre back that I've chosen, because Ledley King is playing right centre back, is Sebastien Bassong.
Incorrect.
Oh no! Or William Gallas. Which one is it?
It is William Gallas.
William Gallas. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a poor side, isn't it? It's central midfield. I doubt it's going to get any better. Is it drug banned former West Brom central midfielder Jake Livermore?
No, but he was on the bench.
Oh, he was on the bench. Okay. Who would we play centre midfield? What about now full?
Yes, Scott Parker is in there.
Okay, so maybe then the final piece of the jigsaw will be another defensive midfielder because Modric. So will it be a player I had fondness for, also played for QPR, was Sandro. Is it Sandro?
It is Sandro. Well done, Josh.
Yeah.
See, it's not as easy as it looks, is it?
It's not. There's too many options. And that's not the worst side you've had, is it? I mean, you've got Gallas at the wrong stage of his career, Friedel at the wrong stage of his career, probably playing Modric well out of position. Not probably, you're playing Modric position there.
Yeah. It's a decent team.
That side lost to QPR, but it lost to QPR though, so not that decent, is it?
Very true. Very, very true. Well, with the end of the quiz, that does bring us to the end of the podcast. So it's been a very enjoyable one. Yet again, please do leave all your comments and stuff in the comment section below. But Josh, where can people find us?
Well, we are Spotify's premier podcast, Football Talk. Please search for Michael Bull find us, or use the link in our Twitter account, because you can find us on Twitter at Football Talk. But remember,
there's no A in football.
Yes, Football Talk, but with the A removed.
Excellent. Well, from both of us here, Josh and myself, it's thanks for listening and goodbye. We'll see you next week.